My gosh, I'm back yet again with another video response. This video response is for Andrew Motoyoshi for his 56 subs contest. Congratulations. Know you're from New York, but you're living in Japan now. When you're back in the States, I'd like to get together so we can have a smoke. Let's say like Nat Sherman's or something. I love Nat Sherman's. I've never been there off of work to hang out and relax. So for this contest, Andrew Motoyoshi is asking us to reveal a quirk about ourselves. Now it's very hard because apparently I'm a very quirky person as for people, so I'm going to reveal two because it's kind of hard. I asked my wife what I'm like, what's a quirk she notices about me? So she texted me back and she said, she told me what it was, and I was like, oh yeah, how can I not realize that? So my one quirk is, I might get made fun of for this, but I sleep with a pillow, an extra pillow, not just a pillow under my head, but sounds stupid. I cradle a pillow somehow. When I sleep, I have a pillow here that I hold like this, and I roll onto my left side, and that helps me sleep. I go unconscious almost. It helps me relax, helps me fall asleep better, and it's just comfortable. A lot of people be like, oh, why would anybody just cradle a pillow like this in bed? And I go, hey, try it, and you'll see for yourself that you'll fall asleep quicker. But I'm not. Different people know different things, different strokes for different folks, whatever. That's one of my quirks that my wife pointed out for me, and I realized, yes, it's true. So I do sleep with an extra pillow. I cradle up like this, and I fall asleep right away. So ha ha ha, you all can make fun of me for it if you want. And the other quirk is I am in the field of EMS, emergency medical services. I'm an EMT, emergency medical technician, and I get to see lots of different things. Blood, sick people coughing, all the gooey-ish stuff, been to car accidents, everything that comes with being in the EMS field. And I'm used to all that, like, stuff, seeing it for so long now, but it still sometimes bothers me, like walking through the hallway of a hospital. I'm like, oh, smelling fresh poo that just came out of somebody's bottom that hasn't been cleaned up yet. Especially, it always happens with the elderly. That gets to me. Sometimes I've even dry heaved in the hospital or certain places, or if I'm picking up somebody and like they happen to have a foul odor to them, or their house really stinks, I'll dry heave and just get grossed out, but I'm not going to do it in public. Like, oh, hi man, we're here to take you to the hospital. No, I'll hold it in. I may look stupid, but yeah, that's not that quirk, but that's leading up to the main quirk. And also, I used to work hauling the deceased. I used to pick up bodies. I used to help out with medical examiner jobs, pick up for the funeral home. Now I would either deliver the deceased to the funeral home, to the cadaver lab, the morgue, wherever. Even if somebody died at home, I'd go pick them up there. And believe it or not, that does not bother me. That doesn't bother me at all. Compared to the things that I see in the hospital when people are alive, which is weird. It's like quirky, exactly. Like I've been to I have a couple memorable body removal calls stories. One where a kid, he must have been homeless. He committed suicide, went up to a train station up on the platform and jumped in front of a train. Killed him instantly. And he flew down the track, and he wasn't dismembered. He was almost dismembered, and blood everywhere. His intestine was partially out, so I had to pick it up, put it back in him. And when we turned to move him, blood started pouring out, and that really, I'll tell you honest truth, didn't bother me. Doesn't bother me at all. Another one where a guy passed away in his apartment in the town where I work. Third floor, this tiny, tiny room. It could have been basically a closet, but it had a stove, a mattress, and a dresser. He passed away. And that was my first body removal call. And the smell was atrocious. Atrocious. This guy was decomposed. And so we went upstairs. We had donned our full body protection suits on with masks. The smell, yeah, it's obviously going to stink. It's going to bother anybody. But seeing this guy decomposed, maggots, worms, and seeing most of his head missing because it was decomposed, I stayed there and did the job. It's not like, oh, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. This is too gross. Stayed there, did the job, hoisted him in the body bag, sealed it up. Me and my partner, that night, carried him down the stairs, loaded him into the van, and that was it. Brought to the morgue, and yeah. And another call like that, a guy, he was very, very obese, very fat, very heavy, passed away in his chair, and he was decomposing. He wasn't decomposed, but he's been there for a long time. It's one of those hoarder houses where food containers were everywhere, stacked in the house. So he passed away in his chair watching TV. TV was still on, and it took us, due to sheer size and how slippery he was because he was decomposing, took us 4 hours. 4 hours to drag him out of his house. And yeah, and the smell, obviously stinky, will bother anybody, but being there, I stayed there, did the job. Seeing him didn't bother me. Touching the bodies, tying ropes around him to move him, didn't bother me. See, it's like working around death, that didn't bother me. Working around the living, it's like, oh my gosh. Oh, we're seeing like people wrench in pain and seeing all these infections in the hospital. It's like, oh man, keep me away. But when I worked around the dead, I obviously had, a lot of respect. But that stuff didn't bother me. So that's, a lot of people think that's quirky. A lot of people would think, oh, working around the dead, oh, you don't want to do that. You don't want to be around that. Oh, they're all messed up. The more messed up the deceased were, I was comfortable working around that. So, yeah, that's my contest entry. Me working around the deceased and just death in general. I was more comfortable doing that. I still am comfortable doing my job now as an EMT. Being around sick people and helping them, that's my job. I'm always going to be there, never going to back off. But I was more at ease doing body removals, working for the funeral home and medical examiner. Got plenty of stories, I'll tell you that. If you go back to some of my early videos where I talk about crazy work stories and such, my stories are there. So that's my contest entry. Andrew, congratulations on your subs, and thanks for holding this contest, brother. Take care, everybody.